From the roar of Hell's Angels motorcycles to Australia's underworld, one man stands out: Angelo Pandeli. Once a feared biker, now a cocaine kingpin. Aligned with global cartels, he's flooded the streets with drugs, all while evading Australian federal police. How did this man rise from the bottom to become Australia's most elusive and notorious drug lord? Angelo Pandeli. From pub life to kingpin of Australia's underworld, Angelo Pandeli, born to Turkish immigrant parents, Constantino and Ma Pandeli, had his formative years in Adelaide. Growing up in a family that owned a pub chain, Angelo was exposed to the intricacies of business management at an early age. He also witnessed the darker sides of society, especially in the Sundowner Hotel, where he was introduced to individuals operating on the fringes of legality. This exposure to power, influence, and the underworld planted the seeds for his future career in crime. A love for bikie culture, Angelo's path to the Hell's Angels. Although Angelo saw some of Adelaide's criminal networks during his time in his family's pubs, his entry into the world of crime came later. His fascination with the bikie culture developed in his adolescence, largely influenced by the individuals he met through his family's establishments. He was captivated by the lifestyle of those who lived on the fringes of society, which is where he envisioned himself as well. Angelo wasn't interested in a typical job or a conventional life. He sought something more dangerous and unconventional. The meeting with John Pike, Angelo's entry into the Hell's Angels. It was during this time that Angelo met John Pike, a dominant figure in Adelaide's bikie scene, and everything began to change. Pike played a crucial role in Angelo's transformation from an outsider fascinated with the culture to a full-fledged participant. Pike offered him a job as a nightclub bouncer, which gave Angelo his first real entry point into the Hell's Angels. From this position, Angelo learned about the gang's operations, culture, and structure, quickly making a name for himself within the organization. His natural ability to connect with people, honed from his years working in his family's pubs, proved invaluable in his rise within the ranks of the Hell's Angels. Rising through the ranks, Angelo becomes a key player. Through his loyalty, business acumen, and unwavering commitment to the gang's culture, Angelo quickly gained trust and influence. By the mid-2000s, he had firmly established himself as a prominent figure within the gang. His influence spread far beyond Adelaide as he took control of operations in Sydney, where he had a significant impact on the Hell's Angels and their involvement in organized crime, particularly the drug trade. The cocaine kingpin, expanding influence in the drug trade. As the president of the Hell's Angels in Sydney, Angelo became a key figure in the Australian criminal underworld, known for his strategic leadership and ability to consolidate power within the gang. Under his leadership, the Hell's Angels expanded their reach in Australia's drug trade, especially in the distribution of cocaine. Angelo's entrepreneurial spirit and the infrastructure provided by the Hell's Angels enabled him to accumulate wealth and power rapidly, making him a major player in the Australian cocaine market. His success earned him the moniker, the Australian Godfather of Crime, from some news outlets. Strategic alliances and law enforcement pressure. Angelo's rise to power was further bolstered by a strategic alliance with the notorious Kinahan drug cartel, expanding his influence even further. However, his success did not go unnoticed by law enforcement. The Australian Federal Police, AFP, and other agencies began monitoring Angelo as early as his presidency in the Sydney Hell's Angels chapter. His prominence in drug trafficking and organized crime led to numerous investigations by authorities trying to dismantle his operations. The tax evasion case, Angelo's close call. Despite law enforcement's efforts, Angelo proved elusive, managing to evade capture for years. The AFP and other agencies engaged in a decade-long cat-and-mouse game, attempting to gather enough evidence to bring him to justice. The closest authorities came to catching him was in 2017, when the Australian Taxation Office, ATO, attempted to prosecute Angelo for failing to file a tax return for the 2014-2015 financial year. This case was part of a broader crackdown on Bicky gangs for tax evasion, inspired by the strategy used to convict Al Capone for financial crimes in the United States. Moving to Dubai, evading Australian law enforcement. In 2017, the ATO issued Angelo a notice at Sydney Airport, demanding he provide a detailed income statement. When he failed to comply, they took him to court. Angelo pleaded guilty to the tax offense, but faced no penalties or conviction. His lawyer presented an affidavit from Angelo's accountant, who claimed a software error was responsible for the failure to file the return. The court accepted the explanation, and the matter was dismissed, leaving Angelo free to continue his activities. Realizing the Australian authorities were getting too close, Angelo made the decision to leave the country. After the court case concluded, he relocated to Dubai, leaving behind his luxurious apartment in Sydney. Dubai provided Angelo with a safe haven, far from the reach of Australian law enforcement, while also offering new opportunities to expand his business operations. Angelo Pandeli's legacy in Australian organized crime. Today, Angelo Pandeli remains a central figure in Australia's organized crime scene, his influence felt across the country despite his physical absence. His ability to outmaneuver law enforcement, consolidate power, and expand his empire has cemented his reputation as one of Australia's most notorious criminals. Although he currently resides in Dubai, far from the reach of Australian authorities, his impact on the drug trade and organized crime in Australia continues to be felt. Angelo Pandeli's strategic move to Dubai and rise in the global cocaine trade. Angelo Pandeli's decision to relocate to Dubai was a carefully calculated move that allowed him to continue his criminal operations while avoiding law enforcement. Dubai, known for being a haven for international fugitives, offers financial secrecy, low taxes, and a booming real estate market that facilitates money laundering on a massive scale. The city's legal system, which is often opaque and inconsistent, made it an attractive location for criminals like Pandeli, who sought to evade capture. In addition, the UAE's inconsistent extradition policies provided a layer of security for Pandeli, allowing him to operate with relative impunity as long as local laws were followed. Pandeli's move to Dubai also placed him in close proximity to the Kinahan cartel, an Irish crime syndicate led by Christy Kinahan and his son Daniel. The Kinahan cartel had also relocated to Dubai, seeking refuge after a violent feud with the Hutch gang in Ireland. This proximity enabled Pandeli to form a strategic partnership with the cartel, greatly enhancing his criminal operations. The Kinahan cartel, known for its extensive international drug and firearm trafficking, saw in Pandeli a valuable partner. Together, they began smuggling vast quantities of cocaine from Colombia to Europe and Australia, using Ireland as a transit point. Pandeli's role in the alliance with the Kinahan cartel was vital to the expansion of the cocaine trade in Australia. With Australia's high demand for cocaine and the potential to earn up to $215 per gram, compared to only $70 per gram in Ireland, the market proved incredibly lucrative. Pandeli's well-established distribution network, built through his Hells Angels associates, became the perfect channel for smuggling cocaine across Australia. His network allowed the Kinahan cartel to monopolize the Australian cocaine market, with reports estimating that their combined operations are responsible for importing drugs worth approximately $1.5 billion annually into the country. Despite being a high-priority target for law enforcement, Pandeli has managed to evade capture for years. Australian law enforcement agencies, including the Australian Federal Police, AFP, and the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, ACIC, have been closely monitoring Pandeli's operations. However, his relocation to Dubai and the UAE's refusal to comply with international extradition requests have made it difficult for authorities to apprehend him. International sanctions have been imposed on the Kinahan cartel by American and UAE authorities, but they have yet to result in the extradition or arrest of Pandeli and his associates. While operating from abroad, Pandeli has capitalized on power vacuums in the Australian criminal underworld to further consolidate his control over the cocaine trade. The arrests of several prominent crime figures, including Mark Butel, have left gaps in the Australian drug empire. Pandeli swiftly moved to fill these voids, assuming control over significant portions of the drug trade. With his main competition behind bars, Pandeli's influence has only grown, making him an even more formidable figure in organized crime. Reports suggest that Pandeli is living a life of luxury in Dubai, enjoying the profits from his vast criminal empire. In addition to his base in Dubai, Pandeli is believed to have residences in countries like Greece, Turkey, and Thailand, locations specifically chosen because of their difficult extradition processes. His global network of safe havens has allowed him to remain elusive, even as the AFP and other international agencies continue to track his movements. Despite the numerous challenges posed by international law enforcement, Angelo Pandeli remains at large, and his grip on the Australian cocaine trade only continues to tighten. His strategic moves, alliances with powerful criminal organizations, and ability to evade capture have made him one of the most prominent figures in Australia's organized crime scene. For the time being, law enforcement agencies have yet to find a solution to the problem that is Angelo Pandeli, and with the cocaine trade continuing to grow, his criminal empire is expected to flourish for years to come.